Governor Francis Nwifuru has called for the rotation of the presidency amongst Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones to ensure equity and fairness. Nwifuru argued that it is unjust that the Southeast geopolitical zone has not held the presidency since 1999. He made these remarks while receiving members of the Senate Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution at his office in Abakaliki. Nwifuru emphasized the need to review Section 308 of the Constitution to extend immunity to the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Deputy Speaker, and Speakers and Deputy Speakers of state assemblies. He also renewed his call for constitutional backing for state police, dismissing concerns about potential misuse by governors. Well, now joining us to review the call made by Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwifuru over the non-occupation of the presidency since 1999 by the Southeast is Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Pleasure being here as usual.
So what do you make of the governor's complaints, that the Southeast has not occupied the presidency since 1999?
Well, it's an old complaint, but you should know the history of what has led to that. There is some distrust, get me, of the leadership of the Southeast because of the Civil War. Because of the Civil War. It's as simple as that. And that persists in spite of effort at mitigating that mistrust by both the leaders of the Southeast and the leaders for the rest of Nigeria. So it is a fact of history. And if we must repeat the history, I will say it, we fought a civil war sometime, and it was the civil war that led to the creation of 12 states. Before we are doing regionalism. We have the West, the East, Midwest. We have that. But you see, to stem the tide of the rest of the Southeast going with the rebellion of Ojukwu. That was why we first had 12 states created. 12 states created. Now we are 36. It's a long journey. And the Ebonyi man is asking for additional one to make it 6 in the Southeast with the rest of the country. But we can't lose sight of our history. We can't lose sight of the fact that we are a multi-ethnic, multicultural, diverse group. And we have been learning to live with each other. But we all know it has not been easy. It was to minimize discrepancies and inequality and injustice that we had the Federal Character Board, which some of us feel is out of date now. Because that was meant to create a level playing field in terms of inclusion in economic space, in educational space, development space, and all that. But I'm sure almost all states now have found their feet one way or the other, and I think that should go. So if the governor of Ebonyi State is asking for additional state to make Southeast have 6 states, like the rest, I buy that. But on the issue of, he's talking about that they should produce the presidency, you should look at our history and the effort of the rest of the country to accommodate the Eastern Rebellion, which was squashed, and then the rebel leader was brought home. We had reconstruction, rehabilitation, and all that. But then, the IPOB is still there. And the government is still wrestling with how to accommodate Kanu. So that is the albatross they bear on their neck, you get me? And the cause of distrust of the rest of Nigeria. And that, to me, in simple terms, is why the rest of Nigeria do not feel at peace with that concept of a Southeastern president. Let's leave it at that for now.
All right, fair enough explanation. What specific strategies, in your opinion, do you think that the Southeast leaders should adopt in order to build some kind of broader sense of national alliance and consensus with other parts of the country in order to achieve the presidency eventually?
Show some commitment to the Nigerian, how do I put it, the Nigerian project.
Nigerian project?
The Nigerian project. What I mean, show unity with the rest of Nigeria and let it be palpable. You get me? The Kanu issue is still a problem. The IPOB is still a problem. And then on that score even, I will praise the governors of the Southeast. You get me? Because they know their people have empathy for the rebel leader who happens to be IPOB leader now. But in spite of that, those governors are showing more commitment to the Nigerian project. You get me? Than some other people. So let them show good faith. Let other Nigerians appreciate that and recognize it. Then it's a matter of getting the appropriate candidate who has enough clout to build bridges across the rest of the country. You get me? You have to build. Nobody can come from one section of the country now and hope to sit in Kaduna, sit in Lagos or high. You have to cross across, north, south, east, west, go through the 6 geopolitical zones before
Mr. Sobowale, you know, you talked about mistrust, based on our history. But then I'm wondering if they cannot be forgiven and treated fairly and equitably. Then is it proper to still keep insisting on this one Nigeria? Also, punishing the Southeast, for the civil war, doesn't it negate the no victor, no vanquish declaration?
No,
just one more, Mr. Sobowale. You also talked about the fact that, the rest of Nigeria are not comfortable with the idea based on what happened in the past. But I'm wondering, is it really the rest of Nigeria or a few political elites? Those are my questions.
Even a few political elites, they are still part of Nigeria. And at the end of the day, it's still a democratic process. Whoever will be president will be voted for in the presidential election. And like I said, he has to build bridges across. And with the IPOB menace still there, you can't blame the rest of Nigeria for getting jittery or suspicious. If you want to go along with a unity concept, you can't be fomenting rebellion against the Nigerian state. Let the rebel leader renounce the rebellion, then come into the fold. It has to be said. And the Nigerian state has been very accommodative from military era up till now, from Gawan era. Rehabilitation, reconstruction, they brought the... And I'm sure the Easterners are comfortable. The Southeastern, they are comfortable in Nigerian arrangement because they have as many states, except, one state less than the rest of Nigeria. But let them show the rest that they won't foment rebellion against the Nigerian state, and then we see how it goes. But at the end of the day, it is the ballot box that will determine who will be president, not from the geopolitical state from which you come from. And you have to cut across the country and build bridges.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much, as usual, for joining us this afternoon. Dayo Sobowale.